Would you prefer to work exclusively in television or in film, or would you
No.
to cross over?
These things don't matter at all. I mean, they don't, you know, when you look at stuff, I think, and that's really what it feels like to me, especially the way things are. I remember being a child and going to the cinema, and it was an event, and you would go to the cinema, and you were watching Captain Nemo or some Disney production or whatever it was, and it was a very big deal, and it felt like a treat, or Star Wars even, I can remember that one. But now, with the way media's gone, you know, and we live in this everything all of the time sort of culture, you can have films piped into your toilet in the middle of the night. And the thrill is gone in some ways, in terms of experiencing it. So it's really, you know, as a viewer, and I'm a viewer like the rest of you, trying to find something decent to watch, or even if I know that it's rubbish and I want to see something sort of semi-rubbishy, I want to see, because I want to break down how it's made or have fun feeling superior while I'm watching it. You can do it any time, you know, and with television, I think maybe it gives, to be honest with you, I'm not hugely interested in the differences between the media, because in the end, for me, it is just stuff. Something's either well made or it's not. You do get instances where television can steals a jump, to invent a really terrible phrase, on film, in that because some of the cable companies make very interesting programs because they don't have to go for that whiz-bang, special effects driven kind of film to get large crowds in for a spectacle. So you get things like The Wire, for instance, being made, which looks so much more sophisticated in narrative terms compared to most of what's out there in the cinemas at the moment. So there. You're right about the Murphy's Law kind of gag of the film. That's, you know, the idea that when things have reached their maximal point of disaster, then you get time to reflect on what you can do to make it better, and then it all suddenly gets much worse. That was the line Mark's script pursued and Ian's direction brought out. And I can't say that there were an awful lot of jolly japes and anecdotes from the set, because we had no time for that. Really, the only real moment of absolutely spontaneous surprise and a feeling of a joke being played on you was when it came to lunch and the catering van dispatched what they had cooked up that day. If it didn't move on the plate, you tended to pick that one of the three things they offered you. Low-budget cinema is all about that kind of thing. No, there wasn't any time for things to go wrong. There were things that we noticed. There were certain things we didn't have that we'd read about in some of the trade magazines that they have in other films, like camera equipment and they have these things, a machine called a dolly that you mount the camera on and you move it along some rails, some tracks. We didn't have those things. So at one point we were pushing Seamus Deasy, who's an extremely accomplished cinematographer, around in a wheelchair on a Dublin street to try and capture some interesting shots, because they were the technical resources we had. And then he fell out and cut his knee. Which is not the same, or indeed as entertaining, as funny as, of course, falling into a gorge and being eaten by a tiger, but we didn't have the budget for that either.
You said it was a very Irish film, very Dublin. I noticed the film was shot very dark, very bleak, very sort of dreary.
Yes. Thank you, do go on.
As a compliment, I mean that. And it just struck me that that was one of the best dark comedies I've seen in a long time. Do you think Ireland has the ability just to keep sort of bringing this kind of film out? Because it was really sort of suited to the environment. It was fantastic.
Ireland does very good doc. You get a very, very good quality of doc in Ireland. Which is actually technically true in terms of shooting. You do get a lot of flat weather that directors tend to like, because they can light it. You don't have dramatic, you know, you try and shoot something here, I would imagine there's a lot of film crews looking up with the monocles and so on into the sky waiting for the sun to fuck off, really, so that they can get on with shooting. You don't get that in Ireland. You get a lot of horizontal rain and cloud, so it's perfect for shooting. And the sensibility, to use a long word for the feel of the thing, is dark, because it's very much a part of the Irish way of looking at things, which is why people spend so much time talking and trying to make each other laugh and telling stories and so on, to avoid the unavoidable huge darkness at the heart of everything. No, well, I don't think about it too much, to be honest. I mean, that's my go at stand-up, comedy. I don't know. I mean, maybe you've just seen some very bad stuff. There's great people out there, you know. It's one of those, stand-up in itself is pretty, on first glance, pretty limited form, so I think people tend to keep it to that, you know, I'm a guy in a shiny suit telling a joke, or a girl talking about, and maybe in a frock talking about the fact that I'm a girl, and it's unusual that I'm up here where guys tell jokes in shiny suits. And that can all get a bit, that can get pretty dull. But if you go up there as a person and just speak to other people, then that won't happen to you, and that's all I ever tried to do, really.
A friend of mine actually caught you at a show in Ireland of your poetry, and she said it was amazing. And I was wondering, would you ever do that in Australia?
Well, I'll have what she's having, and now that was amazing, but that was because it was in a barn in County Monaghan round about midnight, and it was surrounded by mad people. I mean, you really would have had to have been dead not to enjoy that evening. It was the Welsh male voice choir were going on. I think there was a cow that had formed a band by itself. Outside. It was just a very fun evening organised by Pat McCabe, the Irish writer. No, I wouldn't worry too much about your friend's literary opinions. I have no plans to mount any kind of poetry revolt in Flinders Station.
Do you have a novel in the works?
Oh, every prick has got a novel in the works.
But do you?
Sure, several. You know, the works are gummed. What can I say? Who wants to talk about? I mean, do you know what I mean? There's so much stuff. There's so many films. There's so much television. There's so many books. There's so much analysis and journalism on everything that's currently produced being disgorged upon you all the time. I don't know how you make a choice. I don't know how you all had the will to find your way here this evening. To be subjected to more. I just want to lie down. Why can't we make it all stop, please?
I noticed you said that the flat was Mark's flat. Was the dog also Mark's dog?
No, the dog wasn't, because you're not allowed to kill dogs who haven't been through stage school. That breed are prepared to die for a role. No, the dog wasn't actually Mark's dog, but the dog was a nice touch. Thank you very much, everybody. Good night.